What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's your girl Candy J, and with another episode of Candyology, where we talk about love, sex, and relationship. And if you saw this cute shirt that I have on, it is brought to you by MMTG Clothing, where we're blessed to get you dressed. Go all over there to mmtgclothing.com and get you one today. All right, so guys, if you are watching for the very first time, my name is Candy J. I am a certified clinical sexologist through the Dr. Rachel Institute and the American Colleges of Sexology and the American Board of Sexology. Guys, I specialize in putting the oohs and the ahs back into your relationship. But on a serious note, I do this by helping you to foster better communication in your relationship. And whatever tools that you need, I am here to provide. So I offer premarital and marital counseling, sex education for all ages, but I have a sweet spot for those middle schoolers. If you've been on my lives before, if you've been on my show before, you know I am also a former teacher. So middle schoolers, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade are Be Still My Heart. And that's definitely the time where they need it and they go astray. Woo! The things that happen in middle school, y'all. So I specialize in dating after divorce, life after infidelity, postpartum issues. And the reason I specialize in some of these things, guys, is because I was married for 16 years. And I was a part of a sexless relationship. I had major postpartum issues. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was cheated on, and I was the one that cheated. So there's so much wisdom in those years, right? And so when you're looking for a coach, a counselor, a therapist, you want somebody that has the education and the experience, guys. So my office is located in Arlington, Texas, and you'll see that pop up across the screen at one point in this video. And so let me tell you a few things that we have going on. September 23rd. Can the church say September 23rd? There is a mini couples retreat in Dallas, Texas. I have partnered with the Business Lounge. Shout out to Miss Rose Simmons for our mini couples retreat. On Friday night, it is a couples meet and greet game night. You get a chance to talk to some other couples that are going through some things together. Listen, when you get community together, you find out there are bits and pieces that you can learn from everyone, right? And though me and Lauren K will be facilitating the whole experience, you will learn so much more from the people that are around you in that group and partaking together, right? So Friday night is that meet and greet. And that game night. Saturday is when the real work. Can you say on Saturday? Hey, on Saturday is when the real work begins, right? You get 4 sessions. Lunch will be catered to you, and you'll do the work. Okay. And we'll come out with some better relationships with some great tools for communication. You can look at the right side. If you pay by August 15th, it's $397. If you need a payment plan, it's $557. And if you use Afterpay, it is $497. Come on. Can you say specials? Hello. So the next thing I really want to quickly talk to you guys about is premarital counseling. So listen. Remember, I told you I was married for 16 years. We had a smidgen. We only went to like 3 sessions of premarital counseling. Now, listen, if we had have gone through the 8 to 10 sessions that I offer, the intensity that I offer, helping you guys go through family and topics that we're talking about, it's family and friends, finances and budgeting, being a team player, children, faith and values, expectation, gender roles, intimacy, and sex, which are not the same thing. Communication, conflict resolution. So we go through all of these things in 8 sessions. So you have 2 options with me. Either you can do a group session, which is virtual, and that's $400, and you're still doing the 8 sessions, but you're doing it in a group. In person is going to be $800. You still get your 1-hour sessions, which if you do the math, on one side in group, you're paying $50 a session. On the other side, you're paying $100 a session. It just depends on whatever floats your boat and makes your significant other comfortable and you comfortable of how you want to do this. All of my information is on the screen, and that is how you're going to reach me. So, last but not least, one more announcement before I bring you my special guest. I have a course called Spice, guys. And Spice stands for me of sensuality, passion, intimacy, communication, and what? Excitement. Can you say excitement? Come on, scream it with me. Scream it in the comments with me. Excitement. Okay, right. Okay, so it is a 90-day course, guys. 90 days. You get one-on-one calls with me weekly. You get group calls with me weekly. And you get 2 products from the Bedroom Candies line to help out with some of the assignments that I give to you within those 90 days. You get a spice journal. And of course, like I said, you get the daily lives, right? So you can see the breakdown on the left hand of the screen. If you need a payment plan, it's $25.37. If you use Afterpay, you get a significant discount. If you use Afterpay, it is $2,000 instead of $25.37. And then if you just pay in full, you still get a discount, but that's $23.57. Okay, so it pays. It definitely pays to use Afterpay. So guys, you're in for a treat. This lovely woman that I met a couple of months ago in a group that I'm in, and when I tell you she's a joy to speak with, is an understatement. And her name is Miss Elie Brown, and so she's been waiting backstage, and she can't wait to talk to y'all. Here we go, y'all. Let me add her into the stream. Hi, Elie.
Hello. I absolutely love your intro.
Well, I gotta give justice to the people that are around me doing impactful things, right?
Yes. Oh my God, that is so true.
So, Elie, why don't you tell them who you are, girl? Who are you, and what do you do?
All right. So my company is called Star Coaching. And what I do is I coach married couples. And I also do a lot of work with blended couples. And so one of my passions is to have relationships be the fairy tale, right? That's where I'm going with that. The fairy tale love that you've always wanted. We've lost that with the way that marriages have been going. People don't anticipate on staying married. It's amazing how that has happened. And yet the only reason it's been that way is because they didn't connect with people like you and I, And so what I do a lot with my couples is I talk about communication. That's one of the big things, and a lot with connection within the communication. Now, I myself have been married for 27 years. I have my husband, when we got married, this is my second marriage. My first husband passed away. And I had twins with him. So my husband, that I'm currently married to for 27 years, he had 3 kids in his prior marriage. So we came together as that blended family. And boy, did we go through some learning experiences within that.
Man.
So I, like you, Candy, before I got married, I had like 1 counseling session. And they were like, you guys are good to go. You know what? We were not good to go. We had so much that we needed to understand, especially the dynamics of a blended family. So over the years, we had trials and error. We had to grow up in so many different areas of our life. So those are the kind of things that I get to pass on to my people. Things that I have seen, I've experienced myself. Things that I have seen my clients experience, the things they talk about, the way that they go from everybody wants to kill each other in the house to now we have a house that really is in harmony and we work together as a team. And that's what I do. And that's what I'm about. Like, we're going to work together as a team, but we're going to have a whole lot of love and fun on the way. Absolutely. And so that is who I am. And that's what I do. I love my people. I work with them. You get to create how you want your family to look like. And that can be different from one person to the next, but you get to say what it looks like.
Absolutely. I am so excited for this conversation. But we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, my name is Candy J. If you've never been here before, say I'm a candyology virgin. Hashtag candyology virgin. My name is Candy. I am a certified clinical sexologist through the Dr. Rachel Institute and the American Colleges of Sexology. I specialize in putting the oohs and the ahs back into your relationship, but I do this by helping you to better foster better communication in your relationship. So I am sitting here talking to Miss Elie Brown of Star Coaching, and she had just told us a little bit about what she does. So I'm about to get in her business, y'all. Come on, y'all.
Ooh, let's go.
So first of all, Miss Elie, you said that this is your second relationship, and your ex-husband passed. I'm sorry, your husband passed away, right? So let me ask you this: how did you guys get to being married? Your first husband. How did you guys get there? How did you meet? Where did all of this begin for you guys?
Well, I met my first husband. I met him at the church, and I'm from Miami. I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and I lived in Miami since I was a baby. And so we met at the church and we dated. We had a fun time. It was one of those type of churches that they pushed a lot of interaction, fun. Friday nights was the young people or the single people's fun night, and we used to go out and we did all kinds of things together. And so we got to know each other. We became really good friends. And so it was just a natural thing for us to actually get married because we were really good friends. And that's one of the things I really do push. You need to marry your friend.
Come on now, say it again, because I say it all the time. Friendship is the foundation of every great relationship. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And so, and during that time, we had a lot of ups and we had a lot of downs. He had cancer, and we found out on the first year of our marriage, actually the first few months after being married, he was not feeling well, and come to find out that he had stage 4 cancer.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, oh, you're not going to live past this year. So that was traumatic. And then he lived past that year. And then the next year's, you're not going to live past that year. And so we went like this for a while. He lived about 6 years after the first, I guess I want to say after the first horrible news. And we ended up having twins in the meantime. They told him he was never going to have kids, too much on chemo, and we ended up having children. And then right after their first, I think almost their second birthday, that's when he passed away.
Wow. So first of all, as a wife, and let me just say this: I'm definitely sorry for your loss. But as a wife, how do you deal? Because so many people, and I know somebody's out there listening. How do you deal with your husband, significant other? It could be husband or wife, going through such a terminal illness. How do you keep it together? How do you guys keep the faith? How do you keep it even, a normal relationship, quote unquote?
Trying to make it as normal as possible. We kept a lot of laughter in the relationship. That was one thing that we were committed to, is having a lot of comedy, a lot of laughter, a lot of fun. He was a musician. He was on his way and quote unquote stardom. Those musicians that go to University of Miami. He was first chair. He's a horn player. He played with Gloria Estefan when she had her band. He was one of those people there. So he did a lot of jazz. He was a jazz musician. And so, I encourage him to play as much as possible, to live his dream as much as possible, for as long as he possibly could. And I was there. I was just there for him, however he needed to be. And I'm a great believer of if you're gonna, you may have bad times, you may have hard times, the worst times, and yet you can be there as a support, to love, to nourish as much as you can. And one of the things I was all about was nourishing his dream. And he wanted to leave a legacy. So he did as much as he could to be that person for his kids to I mean, with him, he played until he could not play anymore.
Mm.
So, you know, it was not easy. You know, there were some really stressful times. A lot. I prayed a lot. I also had a great support team. I
Mm.
had great friends, and that were there with us. You know, that encouraged, that loved, that was, sometimes they would come over and hang out with us. So we had a very a great group of people around us that kept us together and loved until the very end.
Wow. And that's amazing. Let me ask you this. So at this point you're a mother of
Of
twins.
twins. Mhm.
Girls or boys or
They're girls.
okay. So you had twin girls and they're almost two, they're about at their terrible twos, and your husband passes away. Did you seek counseling? Did you seek grief support? How did you get through those things?
I actually didn't have counseling at the time. I didn't think about counseling. I had friends of mine that were doctors, that were nurses. I had very those type of friends, those kind of friendships. And one of my girlfriends, she was a very good friend of mine. She worked with a lot of, I would say, patients that were terminal. So her and I would have these conversations, and it was just healing conversations. And and she would pray with me, she would stay with me, she was there by my side. I think from the beginning to the end, just a very loving individual there for me. She would pop up and just go out, let's go out, let's go have some fun. And she would do things like that just to get away from the situation. And so that made it so possible. And I think that no matter what you do in life, you have to have those type of people in your life. Just non-judgmental, loving, generous, and they are there with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be in the fire with you.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the type of friends I had. So it just made it so
You were really
possible.
blessed. I mean, because I talk to people all the time that don't have that. And, they're sometimes they'll even be like, I'm jealous of you that you have such a great tribe around you. And I mean, I don't know what I would have done without my friends when I got divorced and going through all of those different things. So, yes, I totally agree. If you don't have a great tribe, then I need you to find one.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, and be a friend, you'll have a friend.
Hmm.
It's easy as that. I was, my friends were great friends. We were friends way before the situation happened, and they came through when I was in the hot seat.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, so
So
and I heavily rely on them for just um for support, for love, for sanity.
did they step up to? I mean, did you have family in place, or was it the friends in place that helped you with the twins and everything after that?
After that, after a couple of years, family stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny how when we talk about it, you think your family is going to be the main people that are there, but it turned out that my friends were were there for me more so than my family.
Mm-hmm.
It took a couple of years before my family goes, well, maybe we need to step in to help out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wow. So at that time, how long was it until you met your husband now?
It was about 3 years later. And as a matter of fact, we were friends way before that. I went to school, I went to college with him.
Mm,
And so we used to see each other all the time. I was in the computer science, I was a computer science major at the time. And he was the one that worked in the computer lab. And everybody came to him for help because he was the expert in it. And I would always come like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he would help me out. It would just be a hot mess. And so, and we were friends through the whole time. when we were in college. And it just so happened, like after I got married, I moved away, all of that. And one day out of the blue, I'm out with my daughters and he's there and he goes, wait a minute. Hey, I haven't seen you for years. Where have you been? And so we reconnected, went out, had a good time. He brought his kids over and we went out to the park. We started doing things and it became like the family.
Aww.
So and then we started going to church together, all of that. And that's how we ended up getting married. We became friends. Our kids were friends. And so so we thought, hey, this shouldn't be that hard, right? We're just gonna have one big the Brady Bunch. Right.
So tell me what has been the hardest thing in your relationship?
Dealing with the kids becoming mine. It's like there's a decision that I had to make, like, you are mine. I thought it was a natural thing and it really wasn't. And then, of course, dealing with the outside person that's really on the inside, which is their mother, and their mother saying whatever she had to say about me and not really talking to me and, dealing with the influences of that. That was one of the most, I think, challenging things, was just dealing with the mom.
How old were the kids when you got together?
What now?
How old were the kids when you got together?
They were, let me see, one of the kids was about 8. There was 8, 7, and one of them was the same, about 5. So they were young. So they were heavily influenced by their mother, of course. And not saying anything about her. She was being a mom. And she didn't know me. So, she's going to fight about whatever it is that I might say or do, because we're very different.
Right.
So, I didn't want to make their mother wrong. I didn't want to say anything negative about her because that is their mother. And then at the same time, I'm dealing with, I have certain rules in my house as far as how we run things. And she has her rules, and they were not, always matching as far as how we deal with things. And then, of course, then my husband's in the middle trying to referee, and so I had to learn that there's a way to do this that makes more sense. And some of it had to do with engaging her in there, getting her feedback, getting her support. Sometimes I had it, sometimes I did not. And when we got it, we worked it. And when we didn't, then we had to find very creative ways to do that. But one of the things that I did commit myself to with the kids were, you belong to me too. And once they got that, then we started having dialogue.
How long was it before you guys got married?
Almost 2 years before we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did everybody live together, or was it split?
Well, one of the kids came and actually lived with us after a while. He actually came and lived with us. And the other 2 just came during the summer, the springtime, the winter time, whenever they had all their vacations, they stayed with us. Okay. So they went to school at home, and then the other 2, they stayed with us during all the vacation time.
So was he supportive in, you building a relationship with the kids and his ex-wife or baby mother, however that went?
No. I want to say it just like that. He didn't get along with her. And so that was always a conversation that they were always trying to work out. And so I didn't get involved with that. I didn't want to get involved in how they communicated as far as whether they got along or not. Is for them to figure out what works for them. My thing was to figure out how it works for my household. And once I made the decision, you guys are mine, I may not be your biological mother, but I'm still your mother. I love you. I care about you. My goal is your best interests. And I encourage a lot of conversation. I mean, a lot of conversation. One time, one of my sons, he said, he came home, he was upset about something. And I said, let's talk about it. He goes, I don't want to talk about it. I said, okay, I see that you're angry. What are you angry about? Do you need some space? And he was like, man, when I come home, I feel like, one day he was going, and then he busts out laughing. And when I said, why are you laughing? He says, my mom don't even talk to me as much as you talk to me. Like, you get into my business and I don't feel like you're getting into my business so you can say something negative.
Right.
It's more like you want to know what's going on with me so you can see what's going on with me, like you're interested. Mm-hmm. So we developed a relationship that it surprised me, actually. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen overnight. It was something that took a while to work on.
Right.
Because there was a lot of outside influences that I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. Things that were said about me. And I'm like, okay. What am I going to do about that? I can't fight that, but I can be who I am and continue to be who I am until you get it.
Right. Right. Wow. And I love the attitude that you took on for that. Did you, at this point, did you seek any counseling? Did you guys seek any type of help to help you guys through the navigating all of this at this point?
Well, we had friends of ours who were really heavy into writing books and counseling and coaching on blended families. They were a blended family themselves. And but they were a blended family in the sense of they adopted a lot of their kids, so they had all of that background. And we took parenting courses. We took different types of. We actually taught marriage, and we taught some of the family type courses as well. So we learned a lot from that. And then having people that are in your circle that are doing the same thing. So you're just having those type of conversations. So we had a lot of conversations with people around us that were experts in those areas to really have us take a different viewpoint on how to actually raise a family. Like, it just isn't about how I think or what my husband thinks, but there are different points of view that you can have in order to raise your family that have your family really work. So we had an opportunity to actually get a lot. We had a friend of ours that's a PhD, and she is a family counselor. And she used to have classes, and we used to sit in her classes every now and then, just listening to her and her expertise and how to deal with family strife, family communication, family structures, putting rules down that make sense. All of that. So, we got a lot of good stuff, people around us. And we have a good group of people. That was important to me, to have good influences, conversations, points of view around me that made some sense, that would help me move along.
Yeah. So what is the relationship like with the kids now? I'm sure that they're grown at this point.
Yeah. Okay. So my older son has a daughter who's about 8 years old, and that's a different dynamic. You have a grandkid, right? She has so smart. And so we have that kind of conversation. Like, our conversations are now is more adult. I have an opinion, and that's my opinion. You have that, right? And I'll be like, well, what you ever think about? Well, no. That's my opinion. Okay, back up. He's entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to his point of view. I respect that, and I back off. I'm more into allowing them to be an adult now. Mm-hmm. So that's how I treat him. He's an adult, and I treat him like an adult. And then when I don't hear from him for a while, I'll call him and say, what are you doing? I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm always here for you. All of that. And that's the kind of conversation we have. Then we have a younger son who is, he was here with us for Thanksgiving. Really interesting guy, pretty successful in what he does. He's a barber, and he has his own business. So his dynamic, he's always been the baby, but yet not the baby. It's kind of like that. He's the baby. But he's grown up. He's doing his own thing. And in my way of being, I want to hug on him like he's the baby, but I always got to remember he's a grown man, you know. So he's adorable. He's loving. I love that about him. Him and my we have a good relationship. We don't talk as much as I think I would like to. He's about to have a baby now too. So he's supposed to be coming down. So I can't wait.
But wait,
he's in Miami.
Oh, okay. So he's coming up.
He's coming up. Yeah, he's coming up. Yeah. So that's exciting. That's going to be another dynamic of the family that's growing. But we have a great relationship. We have a good relationship. I really adore him. And we have a daughter. And the daughter has been a little bit more of a workout. It took us years to get to this point right now where we're talking like we're friends. We had to get through some things, you know, to actually come as one. We had to really work on some dynamics. You're not my mother. I want to do this, and I don't want you to tell me how to do that. My mom this, and my mom that, and my mom this. And I had to respect that.
Right.
I had to respect that. Yeah.
So is she the middle child? What's the dynamic there?
She's the oldest child.
Oh, she's the oldest. Okay.
Yeah. I'm grown now, girl. You know.
So how old are the kids now?
So she is 31. The twins are 30. And so is my youngest son. He's 30. And they're a few months apart. And our middle son, he is 30. No, it says 31. No, she's 32. She just turned 32. Our son is 31, and the twins and the youngest one is 30.
Oh wow.
So I know it was like, oh my God.
So how did that work with the twins? Like, did the twins because they were so young when everything happened, he immediately, took them on as a father, and embraced them as his own? And is that who they call dad? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. They call him dad. And it's real funny. My husband's, he's lovable, but he's stern. And so they got along very well. He's really good at being dad, but when you have girls, they want to be daddy's little girl. And so that became like the thing in the house where, anyway, so the way we worked it out. So my husband is the dad. He likes to put his foot down. He likes to put the rules down. He likes to enforce the rules. And, sometimes it's a friction, sometimes it's flow, sometimes they see eye to eye. They have these long conversations about certain things. And so we went through that whole struggle of, and we didn't have to struggle with the girls so much that you're not my dad kind of thing, because their dad passed away.
Right.
It was more the other side. You're not my mom so much, because the mom is there and she's influencing the conversation. So with the girls, they were more accepting. They were more, it's okay. They enjoyed having siblings because it was always just them. So that, and then, with the older girl, she was the big sister. So she would tell them things before I had a chance to tell them, like, wait a minute, that's my job. You told them before I did. And I didn't make her wrong about it. Because that's what big sisters do.
Right.
And so, but we had to have those type of conversations afterwards, clean it up, put it together, whatever. But they enjoyed that. And then they got older as teenagers, now it became an issue. Don't get into my things. Don't touch my things. And we had the whole fighting in the house. But before that, we were the family, and we were going through our changes, our struggles, our trying to gel as one. And that was a little workout at times, especially when you're talking about another woman outside that.
Right.
She's the other woman. And she's like, I'm not the other woman. I was here before you.
Right, right. Um,
Um,
so how
yeah.
so do you still talk to their mom at all?
Not really. I think what happened was we're very friendly with each other. When my son graduated, the older son, when he graduated high school, she came up to me and she said, I want to thank you because he lived with us,
Hmm.
and she says, I really want to thank you because for a while when he was living with me, he didn't want to go to school. And then
Mm,
when he's with you guys, he went to school. He graduated and he's talking in college. So we went through that stage of she was seeing that he wanted to do things. It was an absolute change because I mean we really worked with him, and just seeing the changes. So she was great and gracious, and I'm gonna say gracious because she was to come and say thank you.
mm.
So,
So, yeah, I mean, guys, first of all, if you're just joining us, I am sitting here talking to Elie Brown of Star Coaching, and she's just sharing with us a little bit about blended families because this is a whole blended family situation that she had going on. And if you've been watching, I said one of the things about choosing a counselor, a coach, or a therapist, you want to choose somebody that has an experience, right? The experience and the education, which she's definitely proven in this conversation that she has a whole bunch of experience and education about all of these things, right? And so Elie, my question to you is when you're helping, I know that you said you and your husband, have been counseling, married couples and sometimes do these things together. What is the biggest challenge with working with your husband at times?
with our family, working with my husband, sometimes I think one of the biggest things is really getting for him to be engaged in the conversation. My
Mm,
husband can be black and white sometimes. Like that is not important. It's a yes. Why are we still talking about it? I'm done. He's gone. And so it's more like some things are not so black and white when you're dealing with kids' feelings, their perceptions, and so now you have to take the time out and talk it through
right.
and really, really sit down and listen.
Mhm.
And so I came from a point of view that kids are just little people. They are people, they're human beings. They're not for you to boss around, they're not for you to squash. They are important. God gave you the privilege and the honor to be able to influence them.
Mhm.
And that's my job, to influence them to go a certain way.
Right.
And so we had to work that out. Like, it's okay to listen. It's okay that they have a totally, totally different point of view. And that old school way doesn't always work.
Hello, somebody. Hey,
So,
let me ask
I'm going to tell you, you better do what I tell you to do. That doesn't work. And so it's more like, what are you going through? Why do you feel that way? And we used to do this, that we used to really annoy them, but it made a difference. So it made a difference for my husband, right?
you.
So I would have them go back and research something that they talked about that they were mad about and come back and present it to me. Present it. So my husband would sit there and listen. That was something that he actually enjoyed. So I had to get real creative and what will work for the entire family. It's not about me, it's not about him, it's the family. And they will do the research, and they used to get together as a team to come up with whatever they wanted to come up with. It was just amazing, right? And then they would do the presentations and they would coach each other and how to do the presentation. So they can they can take that point of view to somewhere else. And you
Mhm,
know what? It just made it joyful. Our Friday nights were family nights.
mhm.
So that was when they present their point of view. And it just made it fun. And my husband would be like, whatever, but he understood where we were going with that. And
Mm,
he enjoyed the fact that they had a point of view and they were able to express it.
right.
Because my whole what I wanted to encourage was expression.
Mhm.
And so so that was the being creative and having him, engage. So,
So outside of the kids, what would you say was the toughest thing that you guys have gone through in your relationship?
Outside of the children's, children's. Well, I would say one of the things I would say is that it's like I have a purpose, and I really get my purpose. Like my purpose is all about relationships. That's probably why I'm so engaged and find ways to be creative and always looking for that next way to have it work. Like I'm creating my own thing, right? So, and the hardest thing has been to for me, I would say to keep my husband engaged, to keep him interested in what we're doing, what I'm doing, and to help to really keep him interested in what God has called him to do. And so he used to preach all over the world. He was great at it. He used to just a great, when it talks about preaching, he was great at that. That was his thing. That's what God called him to do. And then somewhere along the line, he was like, I'm hanging all that up, whatever. And so to keep him interested, to keep the dream going, to keep him in with his purpose, to keep him engaged in what God has called me to do, and finding a way to start to bring us together as a team. The thing that we were attracted to each other in the beginning, to bring that back, to always keep bringing that back, and to keep that alive and to keep flaming it. And so that has been my challenge with that, right? And so I do a lot of things as far as making that work. And I cannot discount that marriage. If you want your marriage to look the way you want to look, you got to be creative. There's no way of getting around it. It takes work. That I love you forever is wonderful when it sounds, when you say it, but it takes something to keep it going. Right. So, I work out. I try to eat right. I read. I'm engaged. I try to stay interesting. At the same time, I also have him in mind and what I'm doing. I have him in mind all the time, and how can I engage him into something that he's interested in? So that's been my little.
So what are your love languages?
I love words, words of affirmation. I love words. I love conversation. Probably why I'm in coaching, right?
Right.
I love self-expression. And I'm always looking for how can I be more expressive and say what I mean and mean what I say. So that is one of my biggest things. And of course, I'm a woman. I love gifts. I love gifts. And they don't have to be expensive gifts. They can be gifts that you heard me say that this really, I really needed to get this, and this, I really need to do this and do it. Like I wanted a board and to start to pin all my ideas on the board. And what did my husband do? He goes and buys me a board. Puts it up, And so that way, he's listening for those type of things. So those little things make the biggest difference to me, because it lets me know you're paying attention.
So what is his love language?
Oh Lord, my husband loves gifts, but he likes electronic gifts, not any kind of gift. He's a programmer, and so for you to buy him, he's got the expensive ones, right? So for him, it's electronic gifts. Like he knows his stuff. So whenever I'm buying anything for him, I got to do some research or call his brother. His brother's also a programmer. My husband's also a twin. So that's one thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. My girls are twins. He's a twin. His mom's a twin. My dad's a twin. My sister have twins. His sister has twins. We got that whole thing going on in our family.
Wow.
So whenever I don't know what I'm doing or getting or whatever, I'll call his brother and say, hey, listen, I want to get him a gift. And I've heard him talk about this and that. So you think that would be something good for him? Because they talk every day. They talk every day.
Wow.
So he'll be like, no, don't get that, but get this brand or that brand or this way. And it's got to have this. So when I get it for him, he knew I did some work to get that.
Okay, so you said George was words of affirmation and gifts. What's his second one?
And he likes gifts. He's not a word person. He likes mostly gifts. You know what I mean? He likes, yeah, I think when I think about him, it's mostly gifts. I tried all the other one. I tried the affirmations, the hugs, and whatever. But if you buy him that right gift, man, you got him. He's in another world.
No, wow.
I've been trying those different things to find out what the second one was. I've been doing all kinds of things. So far,
I didn't take the 5 love languages test.
He has taken it. We've taken it together. That's how he knows mine, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm verbal. With him, it's an exploration because he'll be like, so what's your favorite color? Blue. Like, what's that? Blues, black, gray. Okay. Okay, so you like conversation? Yeah. You like written word? Nah. You know, a whole lot of love and all that. Well, who doesn't like sex, right? And so it's kind of like that. So it's been like that. It's more like, okay, we got to really go on a deep exploration. I've been working on that for a long time.
Okay. So, I told you I was going to get in your business. So we're out here in these streets helping couples stay together, right? And so intimacy and sex are not the same thing, and people get those two confused. Has there been ever any issues with intimacy and sex?
Oh, of course. I'd be lying if I told you it wasn't true. Okay, so before we're married, there's a whole lot of conversation, right? You know, the conversation is rich. I like you. I love you. I think you're beautiful. I love your legs. I love all of that, right? Then we get married 2 years later. Hey, what happened to all of that? You know, it's just sex. What is the intimacy? And then we went through that stage. Then he went through that whole stage of, God, why we gotta have so much conversation? Can't we just get to it? You know? Can't we just get to it? So we went through that whole stage, and that was a fight. That became a fight, I think, about maybe 5 years down the line. Because after a while, I'm like, wait a minute, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to be able to look at you and have that whole conversation. So we went through that stage of, okay, I don't want to have a conversation. It's midnight. We're finally getting to bed after dealing with everybody's homework and eating and cleaning up and all of that. I just want to get to it and go to sleep. Well, that didn't work for me, right? That didn't work. I tried that, didn't work for me. I was unhappy about that. So now we're going through, it didn't work. Now we're fighting about it. And so now he's mad. He's mad all the time. That was a dark time in our life. I'm mad. We had these dumb conversations like, you don't think anybody else is going to want me out there? And I'm like, wait a minute, you won't go down your resume. Look at me, We went through that whole stage of nonsense, because we weren't communicating properly. That's what that was.
Right.
So we started doing things where he used to leave me notes to tell me how he feels, because he would be so mad. And I wouldn't be as mad as he was. You know what I mean? I just said, I want what I want. And this other way is not working for me. It might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. So he would leave me notes. Then we would have these conversations while I'm driving to work or from work about it, which I really did like, because he's tame. He's in the parking lot walking around and I'm driving. So we're tame, so we can have these conversations. And that's the best thing. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's the best way to do something sometimes, in a place where you have to be calm and you have to be civilized and you could talk about it. So I got a chance to see where he was coming from and realize that his needs are not like my needs. So now we have to find a way to make it work. So we used to have date nights. That was really, really good. I really enjoy that. And we had a lot of date nights. Now we're still kind of trying to find a way to have date nights and not be out. I used to do like candlelight dinners, and he would just do things. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that. So that brought us back because we had to have the conversations.
Right.
The I love yous, and I really care about how you feel. I really find you, attractive. And by the way, can you lose some weight? We can still say that without it being a negative thing in our relationship. Because one thing that we agreed on is we agreed that as long as you know I love you, I might not say it just right. It didn't cut, the tone didn't come out right. The words didn't come out right. But behind all of that, I really love you. That was an agreement we had to make. Mm-hmm. And once we work that out, then we can start to explore all over again. Because
what that really called is realizing that we're on the same team. We have the same goal. We're just trying to go about it in two totally different ways, and we have to figure out how to compromise on those ways that we want to go about it. That's all it is at the end of the day. And then I love the fact that you guys figured out how to create a safe space, because that's what I talk about in one of my courses, is creating a safe space to talk about intimacy and talk about everything, but especially intimacy, because it's judgmental. It's a sensitive subject. It can be taboo. It can be all of these different things. And you're punishing yourselves when you don't have sex. I mean, let's just be honest, because sex is a stress reliever.
and not only this, it's a stress reliever, it also is a connection.
Right.
There's a connection that goes on, and and you say things in the moment that you don't normally say, like how much I really love you, and how much I really miss you, and it becomes an expression of that.
Right.
And when you neglect it, sometimes, like for him, I experienced that he was just angry about it. Like you're depriving me of something that I thought I was going to have. And that's the thing, the expectation. That's the one thing we don't talk about. I mean, I told you I only had one counseling before I got married, right? So we never talked about that. The expectation that is there, that is never expressed prior to marriage. And now it becomes a place of contention within the marriage. And so here you are, you're having conversations now that you should have had
way back then. And that's why premarital counseling is so needed.
So important.
Right. Because those, I mean, honestly, I had a couple, maybe a couple of months ago, they did premarital counseling with me. And the one thing that they had really never, ever talked about was sex. They hadn't actually had sex yet, right? And so, but they also never had a conversation about it either. And so this person, one of the people in the relationship was like, well, I mean, honestly, once we get married, I expect it at least 7 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And I looked. And I was like,
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And she said, nope.
Yep. Exactly.
And when I say like World War III just happened in my office, and they're going back and forth, and they're like literally screaming at each other at the top of their lungs about something that they never took out the time to discuss.
And it's interesting because before my husband and I got married, we didn't have sex either. We weren't intimate until afterwards. And the one thing that I found the church doesn't talk about so much is sex. Yes. And we didn't talk about sex. We didn't We didn't have those deep conversations that now every now and then you may get a comment, a little smirk or something, but never really talking about, did you know that your wife is built this way? Do you know your husband is built this way? Like his self-esteem is sometimes impacted because of the lack of sexual contact. And and then you don't get to feel loved the way you want to because of the lack of connection that's going on. We didn't have those conversations, and here we are, we're married, and I'm like, dude, you better get out my face.
Okay, so wait, hold on. So we got to take out the time to talk about this. I grew up in the church because I'm a preacher's kid. Okay, and I say this all the time on my show that all I was told was to keep my legs closed and was not told what to do and have a healthy relationship nor have a healthy sex life, right? And so how big of a part do you think it plays when you are raised in the church and Christianity that we weren't told any of these things, especially our generation? You're a little older than I. Because I'm 40, I know you're in your 50s. But still, that era, in those 20, 30 years, we weren't told anything, right? How big of a part do you think that plays in how some people approach their marriages and relationships and sex?
Wow. It is a big part because it's not just sex. It's the whole intimacy and the connection and communication. And because it affects you in so many levels. And yet I don't know how we get around not having those discussions. It's like we do a disservice to our married people by not having those real conversations. And so here I am, I'm discovering all of this stuff about sex. Because when I was married, my first husband, he was sick most of the time. He was in pain most of the time. So there was a lot of things we didn't get to experience because he was sick and in pain. And we spent most of our time thinking about the next day and just being alive. So that was a total different experience than having someone in your life and you're just alive and you get to create and you get to experience. And here you are, you haven't been even in a discussion about it. Something that affects your relationship, that impacts your relationship that deeply. Like, I didn't know that he was going to be angry about it. I didn't know that he felt disconnected. And I'm angry that he's angry,
Wow.
So I don't even know how we even leave those things out. Like we don't set people up to and this is just my opinion, of course, we're not setting them up to be successful.
Right. I don't think so at all. And honestly, I had a contract with a church locally here, and I had to sign an NDA. That's how major it was for them.
Wow.
I came in there to do a sex class with their married couples. And it was about, I want to say it was 50 people, so about 25 couples. And the things that came out of their mouth that they had never experienced, never talked about, didn't even know was a thing.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah. And
I mean, especially, I remember being in church and we had a discussion on oral sex. It was as though it was such a taboo, and I'm like thinking, there's no real free expression. Like there's no freedom in the place that should be free.
Right.
Experiencing freedom.
Absolutely.
So
man.
Is it then that's, and if it's anywhere you need to be free, it's in your relationship, in your marriage relationship.
Come on, somebody.
You know what I'm saying? if there's anywhere that you want to explore, it's in your marriage relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just I don't understand it now, and I probably never will. When it comes to way back then, not teaching and really being open about it. And I get it; it's a sensitive subject for some. But when you're going blind into these relationships, my thing is, don't do you went blind into your marriage, and your grandmother went blind into her marriage, and your daddy went blind into his marriage. Don't you want to end the cycle somewhere? Because don't you remember that uncomfortable feeling of, oh, I don't even know if I like this. I don't know if this is supposed to be pleasurable. I don't know this, that, the third. Oh, there's more to this. Like, oh, okay, I thought I was just supposed to lay down and procreate. I thought that's all we were supposed to do. Those are the things that I've heard. Oh, I'm supposed to have an orgasm? Really? I mean,
You said the O word. Oh my goodness.
why? And then, really, I play around with this, but I've seen people actually do this. Like, clutch my pearls. Like, you said clitoris? You said penis? Yeah, I'm not supposed to talk about those things. Baby, you married
Yes.
them. Do you touch it? But Elie, I have so enjoyed you on my show today, and we have gone over our hour actually. So
I have really enjoyed talking to you.
So I want to tell people how they can. That's not what I meant to do. I want to show people how that they can reach you. If you need to reach her on Facebook, she's at Elie.brown.75. On Instagram, it is Brown LEG, and then on LinkedIn, you want to look up at Star Coaching. Is there anything that you would like to leave the people with, Elie?
Yes, I would love to leave them with, look me up. Let's have a conversation. Let's create your marriage as far as how you want it, what you want, what excites you. And then let's create it even more delicious, because marriage is so much fun. It is, think about it. Your best friend, your companion, your person that's right next to you, your support system. You are their support system. And you create that into the most wonderful connection ever. Like it can be a story. It can be a fairy tale if you create it that way. But it's your fairy tale,
right?
Not what they've created as a fairy tale, but yours.
Absolutely.
So call me, reach out to me, send me a message. I'd love to have a conversation. Love to talk to you. Love to work with you.
And guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Candyology Radio. Do not be stingy. Hit the like button, then hit the share button. And hit that bell so that you can get all of the notifications. I am on air, okay? And so I am wishing you love-filled days and orgasmic nights.